guys, Learning with Rich here. So for today's topic, let's continue about our discussion on solid. So last time I have shown you how to create a solid model by extrusion or loft. Okay, so this time around, I'm going to show you how to modify your solid model with some of the common tools that we use for our 3D model editing. Okay, so let's first start with the two common tool that we use is fillet and chamfer. Okay, so we can use this one by searching from here. Okay, you go to your search bar and then look for fillet solid. Okay, that one. Or if you want to use your library here, you can go to the display. Sorry, you go to the geometry, you go to the solids, and then you go to solid, and then you'll be able to see your heaps of tools or editing tools that we can use to edit our solid model. So like for example, we want to use the chamfer, and then we also want to use the fillet here. There you go. Okay, so we now have the fillet, and then we now have the chamfer. Now, fillet is, for those who are new in 3D modeling, 3D editing, fillet is what it, what this one do is it rounded the edges of the solid model. Now, the other one, the solid chamfer, when you say chamfer, it creates a beveled corner. Okay, so let's try to do that for you to be able to understand it. So let's try to use first solid fillet. Solid fillet, we have three inputs here. So we have solid, which is actually we already have this one. So we just need to connect that one. And then we also have the input edges and radius. For radius, all you have to do is to look for the number node. I just type number, just click that one, and then you can connect that there. Okay, so let's say for example the radius that we want for this two solid model to be filleted, I only want one unit. All right, so the last one that we need to specify here is the edges, so we want to specify the edges of this solid model. Now for us to be able to do that, what you can do is you can go to your geometry again, and then look for abstract, and then look for topology. So these are the tools that we can use for you to be able to extract the edge. Like for example, this one. So I'm going to select your edges. There you go. So the topology here that it's talking about is the solid model, the geometry itself. So I'm going to connect the geometry. By the way, we have two solid here, the triangular extruded model and then the lofted square one here. Okay, extruded as well. So we have two on our list. Okay, so we have solid one, which is the square one. And then we have index number one solid, which is the triangular one. Right? All right. So after we connect our solid to the topology, the next thing that we are going to do is we're going to connect now the edge to there. There you go. So it actually works. All you have to do for you to be able to see it nicely, you just need to hide your original solid model here. So right click that and then uncheck the preview. And there you go. So let us try to hide these lines that we have here. We don't need these lines here. So let's hide those lines. So I think this one is for our loft. So uncheck that. What else? So about this one. So right click preview. So let's hide those things. So right click preview. And then we don't need this. Where is that? Is this one? Yeah. So right click preview. All right. So there you go. So we now have our solid model with a fillet radius of 1. So if we are going to change that to 2, click outside, you will notice it will update. All right. So since you already have all the values, all the nodes that we need here for our solid, if you notice your chamfer, the inputs are just the same. So all you have to do is to connect the solid here as well, and then connect the edge, and then let's connect as well the offset there, the number. Okay, so again, it works So all you have to do is to hide the solid model. So let's hide the solid fillet. So very good. So there's your chamfer. By the way, in solid fillet and solid chamfer, what happens is it creates a copy of our original solid model here, and then it applies the editing. It applies the fillet to that copied object, and it applies the chamfer to the copied object. That's why it will create two more solid fillet and solid chamfer. Okay, so we have the original one. So right click, preview. So right click, preview, and check that one. So we have the original one. So if you want to see the fillet, just click that and then preview it and then hide the original one. There you go. Okay, and then same with the chamfer. If you want to see it, so right click, preview, right click the solid fillet, and then uncheck the preview. There you go. So you can change this to one, click outside, it will update. So same with your solid fillet here. If you right click, preview, there you go. Now if you're wondering if how are you going to fillet, let's say for example you only want to fillet your extruded or lofted rectangular or square shape object, so you want this one. So what is this one? So if you hover your pointer there and then you click that, so you will see that that is actually your index number one from your list, because the triangular one, that is your index number one. This one is the index zero, and then the other one is the index number one. So let's say, for example, you only want to fillet this one, or you only want to chamfer this one. So what you can do is, if you still remember, you can use get item at index. You remember that? You can check out my previous video. So get item at index. Okay, so get item at index, so that you'll be able to select what index number that you want. Okay, select for example for our list, so we already have the list here, so we just need to connect this solid to the list, and then what index number that you want. So in our case we want the index 0, so let's look for number node. There you go, and then let's connect that. All right, so let us now hide by the right click, hide that. All right, so as you can see, we now have this one. So our index 1 model is hidden because we hide our solid loft here. You see? But we don't need this one. So I'll just hide this. I only need this one. Okay? So now I'm going to copy the topology edges. Okay? And then I also want solid fillet because I want to fillet only this one. So Control C, Control V. Just disconnect, 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 disconnect. So this is our solid model. And then we want number. Control C, Control V. There you go. Oh, this one is hidden. So right click, check the preview. All right, so we want the fillet, the radius of our fillet is 1. And then the edges, so we want this item here, which is this one, and then connect to the edge. And then the solid is again this one. So let's connect that there. So again, it creates a copy of this solid model that we have here, and then it applies the fillet or the solid fillet. So let's right click this one and then uncheck the preview. So you will now be able to see it. Okay. So same with your chamfer. If you want this one, so just apply the same procedure, same concept. So same with the edge. So let's say for example, you do not want to fillet all the edge here. You only want to fillet this portion here. So what you can do is, again, you can use list get item at index, and then you connect that to here. Okay, so how to do that? Oh, just for a quick one, but for your exercise, try to do it yourself. So I'm just going to show you the first step. So I'm going to select list, get item at index. I'm going to copy this, Control B, Control V. All right. All right. And then you want to extract here the edges. So let's hide first the solid fillet. Let's just hide this first. And then let us check the preview. All right. Oh, this one is hidden. All right. Oh, so you want to extract the edges here. So you can connect that to the list there, so that you'll be able to see now here. Up. So this is now the list that you want. So what is the index number that you want to be fillet? So you can get from here. So let's say index number 6. So you can use copy number. You can copy this, Control B, Control C, and then you can type here 6. Then you can connect from there. There you go. Okay. So you can orbit. Okay. So after you get now the edge that you want, okay, so you can now again proceed to solid fillet, and then you can connect this item to that edge. So you just copy this one and then create a new one here. And then again, this is still the solid is still this one. And then the radius you can specify, but the edge is you connect from here. So that's your exercise. So you can select any edge that you want here using this. You can extract it from here. Okay. All right. So that's it for our solid fillet and solid chamfer. Now, this time around, so what we are going to do is, let's say, for example, okay, so let us just go back to unhide our model here. And then let's hide this one. All right. So we now have our original solid model. So this time around, the next thing that we want to do is, let us try to use union, okay, and subtract. Union and subtract. This again, this is a too common tool that we can use to edit our solid model. It's very common in Revit and AutoCAD as well. All right, so how to do that? So you can go to your geometry, and then you can go to solids, and then you can go to solid, and here you can see we have union, and then we have difference. Difference is like subtract in AutoCAD. All right, union is like join. Okay, but the first thing that we need to do is we need these two objects, these two solid model to intersect each other. So what we're going to do is we're going to move this one to here, or let's going to move this one to here. All right, so it's up to you. So let's say, for example, what I want to do is I want to move my index 0 item here. Okay, this is item 0, right? If you remember, if you go here on our original one, if I click this one, so as you can see, it highlights. So if I click the other one, this one, so this one is index 1. So this is our index 0. So basically, this is our first item. This is our last item, right? So that's the clue already on what node that you're going to do next. Since you want this to be moved here to intersect, we want to use translate. Okay, but in order for us to select it separately, like for example, you only want to select this. Oh, you still remember during our previous video, we have this item first. All right, this one. And then we also have last. Last item. Okay. Okay, there you go. So what is our first item? Our first item is our index 0. So our last item is our index 1. So let's connect our solid to our list here to get the first item. And then let's connect our solid to here to get the first item. There you go. So now that it's it's now separated our first item and then last item. So we are going to move our, what's this? The first item. So this is our first item, right? The index 0. So that's the first item. So we're going to concentrate there. So let's try to translate it. Translate. Okay, so it's like move and copy. So last time what we used is this one, translate geometry and vector. So this is what we have used last time. So this time around, let's try to use translate with translation for X, Y, and Z. Okay, so I'm going to select this one. There you go. Okay, so for our item, so let's connect that geometry. So we want this one to be moved here. So for the X, Y, and Z, there is already a default value of 0. So we only want to move it along X-axis, for example. I do not want to move it up. I do not want to move it along Y-axis. I only want to move it along X-axis. So let's copy a number here. Control C, Control V. There you go. So let us now key in, let's say 16. Okay, along x-axis. So let's pick that. There you go. All right. So it's now intersecting. So the next thing that we need to do is like what I've said earlier. So when you translate, it actually creates a model, a copy of the solid model, and then move it. So we don't need this one. So let's try this one to avoid confusion. So let's hide this. So how to hide that? So let's hide that first item. So let's hide that, and then this one. Right click, preview. There you go. Okay, so let's hide the two solid, and then I have hide also the first item. Okay, first item, there you go. Okay, all right. Now, so let's go to our subtract and union. Okay, so let's go to geometry, solids, solid, and then let's look for union. Just click that one. So it's asking for too solid for the union. The last item that we have here, which is the triangular one, let's connect that, and then our geometry here, which is this one, the one that we moved. There you go. So if you're going to hover your pointer here, you will now see that you only have one solid here. It actually works. All you have to do is to hide the last item here, uncheck the preview, and uncheck the translated model here, which is this one. So uncheck the preview, and then you will now see this one single object here, which is this one. There you go. Right? Okay, so let us now try to use the other one, which is difference. This is like subtract in AutoCAD. So let's say you want to subtract the triangular one to the square one. So how to do that? First, let us unhide again our model here. Unhide. Let's unhide this. And then let's hide our solid union. Because again, when you use the union or difference or any other tools that we have here, it will create a copy of that solid model with an applied editing tool. All right. So let's uncheck this one. Okay. So let's use difference. All right. So for the difference, what you need to do is the solid model and then other solid model. So when you say other solid model, this is the solid model that you are going to subtract to your main solid model. Okay, so let's say for our main solid model, I want this one. Okay, solid, that's the main, and then I want to subtract my last item, the triangular one. Click. All right, again, it works. All you have to do is to hide your last item here and then your geometry here. There you go. You see, it's now subtracted. All right, there you go. Okay, and it's a single object that we have, single solid model. There you go. So that's how you use your solid fillet, solid chamfer, solid union, solid difference with the help of some of the tools that we have learned on our previous video, like list last item, list first item, get item at index, those kind of things. Now let us try to use some of the tools to analyze our solid model. So let's say, for example, you want to analyze the edges. You want to highlight the edges, the vertices, the faces of this solid model. All right. So how to do that? So for us to be able to do that, so again, we have tools for that. Okay. So let's look for our geometry, abstract again. Let's look for topology. We have the edges here, and then we also have faces, and then we also have here vertices. All right, there you go. So let's connect our solid model to our topology edges, topology faces, topology vertices. So for us to be able to highlight it, so after we get the edges, the faces, and then the vertex or the vertices, so let us now highlight it. So how to do that? Okay, we need to connect this output to another nodes. So to do that, let's look for geometry, abstract, and then topology. Oh no, it's the same. Sorry. Edge. Okay, adjacent faces. This one. Curve geometry. All right. This is what we need for the edge. Edge curve geometry. And then from the abstract again, let's look for face. And then surface geometry. Face. Just remember these nodes or just take a screenshot and then try to memorize it because up to now I haven't memorized it yet. Okay, so after the face, after the edge, vertex, let's look for point geometry. There you go. Okay, let us now connect. Okay, it's now highlight the edge, connect, will highlight the face, connect, it will highlight the vertex as well. Okay, so let's hide the solid model. And then if you want to see only the edge, so let's hide the face here. Hide the face. Okay, so there you go. So you have now the edges, you now have the vertices of your model. Okay, so what else? So last three nodes, let's say for example you want to get the area, the volume, and then the centroid of your solid model. Again, we have tools for that. So let's look for geometry, solids, solid. Let's look for area. There you go. And then let's look for volume. Let's look for centroid. There you go. Okay. Okay, so that's the solid for our area here. So you will be able to get the area and then the volume and then the centroid, the center of your solid model. Okay, you can't see it here because it's being covered by the solid model. So let's hide this and check the preview. And there you go. So there's your centroid. Okay, so these are now the tools that we can use to analyze, some of the tools that we can use to analyze our solid model. Okay, all right, so again, thank you for watching, guys. I hope you learned something from this video. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, just put it on the comment section below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.